Welcome to Season 3 of the Moving On Podcast. I'm Jay Norman, and this is my wife.
Hi, I'm Jess Norman.
Babe, did you really think anybody would hang around to listen to a third season?
What is a really good word for the opposite of yes?
My thoughts exactly. And thank y'all for hanging around.
We sure appreciate it.
And on to the show. Hi, babe.
Hi.
How are you today?
Oh dear. I have another podcast with my girlfriends called The Huddle, and we were saying, you know how in a tip-off, when you win the tip-off, that's usually a good sign you're going to win the game.
Yeah, we just lost.
We have one of my girlfriends that if she comes out incredibly awkward, her first line is really awkward, we know that the episode's going to be very good, Brenna. And so maybe me slipping up on my first.
That's a good cue.
Yeah.
Babe, you got something in your lap that's making like a motorized refrigerator sound over there.
God wanted me to have a kitty.
I don't believe that, but go ahead.
And so he put one underneath my car at lunch today.
And so that's the story I was told. When
Yes.
in reality, this cat has probably been picked up from somebody's house, and that's just the story I'm getting.
She's cute, isn't she?
Kinda. So we not only have acquired a cat for today, that is just today we've acquired this cat. And we also have acquired...
Within the hour.
Yeah, within the hour. She shows up at the shop and is like, I'm here. And I'm like, well, come in. I can't, or I'm not.
No.
I said, this isn't good. I didn't know what had happened. And then last night, we brought a baby calf home.
Yes.
And to be bottle fed, and its mother actually died today.
I know. I'm trying to figure out how to break it to her.
So on the farm, we're calving out a bunch of heifers.
Cody would want you to say farm-wise.
On farm-wise, sorry, Cody. We're calving out a bunch of heifers for us, and we've got them in 3 different locations, and one set particularly is giving us a good bit of trouble, and we lost, had this cow, had a calf, was fine 2 weeks, and then just laid down and got sick, and we hadn't been able to straighten her out, and she finally died, and so we're bottle feeding that calf, and then we had... one die last night trying to give birth, and so anyway, rough day on that part, but hopefully the rest of it will be good. And we do have a lot of calves born, but we got a long ways to go yet, so it's going to be a long ride, and we've had a lot of crazy weather, which I think's messing with us some too.
Yeah, I was telling y'all about my other podcast. That's with 4 of my girlfriends, and Jay called and was really distraught about these moms, and so I texted them. I was like, okay, we're going to need tents, beans, those little guitars you play when you sit by the campfire. I don't know how Sherry is binge watching Yellowstone, so she is all about it.
So y'all fixing to go out there and sit with them, huh?
We're about to set up camp.
I see. We probably need to. Evidently, we hadn't done as good a job as we need to, for sure.
Well, we'll come through for you.
That's good. And so, other farm-wise, we got all the wheat planted, like I think we talked about the last time, and it's growing good, and actually got it all fertilized the first round yesterday and finished, and got a good rain on it. One of my main guys says, only you could be that lucky to get the right kind of rain on it. So I'll take it for sure. And we're getting the planters ready. We're about probably 40 days from planting corn, so it's going to get cranked up pretty quick, which I know if anybody that's listening north of here that they think we're crazy, but we are getting really close, and there's probably be some corn in the next 2 weeks going down in South Texas. So the excitement builds, and we're ramping up and getting ready for that stuff and trying to get all the people in place. And we've had lost one of our employees, and so we've been kind of scrambling to make up the difference there and get him replaced for somebody that can do it, and we're getting closer every day.
I just thank God that we've been healthy all this time. The crew's been healthy for the most part.
Yeah, and when they have been sick, it's been at the right time. Knock on wood, it hasn't.
Timing.
It has been when it's wet, or when we've had the people to fill in and make it work.
But we're in a situation now where we are needing another 1 to 2 good parts of a crew to come. And so we've had the application process started. And I don't know, I get kind of excited with that kind of stuff. Jay keeps telling me different stories of applications coming in from here and there. And I think that's neat to watch God work and see that He's already got him picked out. We just have to find him.
Well, it's a process to sort through, and they're being pulled in different directions, and been things I thought we were going to get done, we didn't, and so it's a little bit of an unknown. But it's a road I've traveled before, so it's not a huge deal. It's just the closer you get to go time, when you get to planning and everything's happening at one time, you really need people in place that have had a little time to acclimate to what we're doing, for sure.
Yeah. And Jay called and said, do you think we could put it on Facebook or social media? I was like, yeah, that'd be fine. So I put it on there. Everybody was really helpful, helping me to share it. Right. I think like 15 of our friends shared it, and what that does is that's their community. So if it comes in and I know who shared it, that acts as their reference. Yeah. But there were a couple of funny ones from Marketplace where they would apply, and then the afternoon, one of the guys applied in the morning, and in the afternoon goes, I get it. And I told Jay, it just struck me as so funny. And each day since then, just seeing if I got it. Yeah. I get it. Seeing if I got that job. And it just made me so tickled every day.
With no contact whatsoever.
No contact. I think Jay tried to reach out to him. We're pretty desperate,
but I don't know if we're that.
I get it.
I've been there before.
Wouldn't it be funny if I just texted back, yep.
Come on. He might have bitten off more than he could chew. Who knows? No, we're really in our local farming community, and I think nationwide. I mean, we've had an increase in prices and the commodities, and I mean, naturally, I think we're all pretty well positive thinkers as a whole to be farmers. So I'm pretty excited about next year, and I think a lot of guys are too. And I think it's as you watch it get closer to planting and watch the excitement build, and you can tell talking to people, and it makes a difference from one year to the next. It makes things a lot funner.
There was so much uncertain last year, and a lot of still, but several parts got pretty scary in the world, and being married to you, and you're so calm and strong. And anytime I would just kind of drop below zero and just come to you with fear, you not only, first, you don't even need to think about your response. That's how confident you are that it is going to be okay. Yeah. But you have that soothing tone that I know and I trust more than any other tone in the world. I will tell God thank you for 2020, that you were mine and I was yours. That was the only part that saved my life.
Made it all better, yep.
Yeah.
Made it all better,
Yeah, sure. I don't know if I could have been married to a man that was panicking because I was panicking here and there. So I'll get this year.
You can handle up on it for me.
We'll switch.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think everything's on the uptick, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, me too.
And so as our family, we've been busy back with that and basketball. And we had an impromptu ski trip that ended up being a lot of fun, that some friends called and said, hey, y'all want to go? And I think we were in the car when less than a full day loaded and ready to go.
So. Yeah, I think my girlfriend Leah, asked on a Monday, and I think we were supposed to leave on Wednesday, and we got in the car on Tuesday. Yeah,
we met them at 1:30 Tuesday afternoon and drove through. And we went to kind of south central Colorado, and they have a beautiful home there. And I guess really, I know my two had never really seen snow like that ever. I guess yours had when they were little, probably. Little bitty.
I'm not sure. Maybe like in Montrose. Yeah. I don't think that, because I don't know if I know. So up from Uraya's Red Mountain Pass. Yeah. And so I definitely have seen that kind of snow. But this was just, for some reason, a whole other level of just God's beauty and creation. And you would just stare in wonderment. It was just so beautiful.
We leave here and it's 40 degrees and we got on coats, cold.
And Crocs.
And we get there the next morning and leave to go skiing, and it's 20 below.
Yeah, I went out to get something from the car at nighttime, and I came back in and my nose hairs had frozen, and I forgot to breathe through my mouth, and I panicked. I'd never experienced anything like that.
So it was all our kids' first time to ski, and so the first morning it's 20 below. Mm-hmm. The lodges are closed because of Corona, and you can't go in, so you have to dress in your car. So we're tying shoes, or tying boots, and buckling boots, and putting on ski passes, lift passes, and our hands are frozen. It was an experience, but we had a lot of fun. The kids, I didn't think that probably we'd get lucky if 3 out of 5 liked it, or we ended up only going 4, but we went 4 for 4, and they all ended up pretty well loving it.
Leah and her husband, Jason, and their son, Gavin. It goes, Gavin was born in August, Lily was born in September, and then our stepson was born in October. So they right there in the same little order. So they're all the same age. They got along so well, even with the littles. But 2 things had to happen. Well, a bunch of things had to happen, but 2 stick out to me. One, we had to have Jason and Leah and Gavin as 3 extra pairs of eyes and help, huge help. Oh my gosh, there's no way we could have gone without them. And secondly, Cash did want to go. He heard the word school and thought that it was like school. And so he's like, I ain't doing that. So he stayed home, and I was relieved that he wanted to just kind of stay home with his dad, because generally in our family, because Cash is younger, it's me and Cash doing his little thing. And Jay has to tackle the 4 others. And that's hard for one person to pay attention and love on and minister to 4. And so for us, I could take my 2 and Jay take his 2. And then Leah and Jason, Gavin were huge help sprinkled in here and there. That's the only way it worked.
It worked really well. And I just want to say too that them inviting us into their home like that with as many of us as there was. And I mean, I've never, outside of maybe family, been asked somewhere and hosted like that, where somebody just committed to taking care of you, everything you did. I mean, you just couldn't beat it.
It was really nice.
It was a lot of fun. And two, one other thing, it had snowed, I think, like 280 something inches there, and you think, whoa, that's a lot. But last year at the same time, it had snowed 520, so it's an area of huge snowfall. It was really, really pretty.
Yeah, my other favorite part was the little bunny lift that I thought they would think it was lame.
Yeah.
That was kind of our babysitter.
Yeah.
Because all the lifts were right there together. So we would go up the mountain with Lily or with one of the others, but our littles just went up the ski lift, the bunny lift, skied down, got back on, up, down, just all day long. We didn't have to watch them. They didn't need us to go with them. We had put them in private lessons that morning. That was the only thing that saved it. So I think they're looking forward to going again. And I just kept telling God, thank you for, I probably had 40 to 50 worries. And I told them all to Liza right before we went up there. And she's like, Mom, what if you're making up all of that in your head and none of it is going to come true? And I was like, oh no, Liza, that's exactly what's happening. But like I always tell you, but I just got to get it out.
Yeah.
The funny but sad thing is, out of 40 and 50 worries, none came true.
Well,
None.
and then the way that happened allowed us to take the kids and to not go up there and just spend a fortune, and then all 4 of them hate it. I mean, that's what had kept us from going
sucked.
and time.
That was one of the worries.
Well, just you'd go up there and do all the work, and nobody would like it. But now we know we can go, and they're going to enjoy it and have a good time.
We had no idea.
Yeah.
We had no idea what they would think.
Yeah, I thought we would go 2 for 4, and we went 4 for 4. So.
One for 4 maybe. Yeah. There weren't any injuries. There weren't any tantrums, just a little one here and there. That's fine.
Yeah.
But when Jay and I have gone, my fingers and toes have gotten so cold that I just always personified that onto my children. And I was like, if they experience this, they're not going to be good.
Yeah.
So he's always wanted to take them skiing. And I was like, they're not going to do well. And bull crap, they did so good. And all 4 of them skied green. 2 of them skied blue.
Yeah.
On their first day.
Yeah.
I'm just really proud of them.
And they cracked the whip on us instead of us cracking the whip on them, getting something done. We were lagging just a little.
We thought we would have to sneak some skiing in during school. That's just not how it happened.
Yeah. So, babe, you were telling me a story earlier, and we kind of were discussing how things have been in the world and everywhere, and you were telling me a story that started us down a line of thought.
Yeah, we've been talking all week about this parable I was reading about. It was in one of my devotionals, and it was the parable of the vineyard owner. And he goes down to, I'm paraphrasing, goes down to his local 7-Eleven around 9 a.m. and grabs a few workers to work in his vineyard, tells them he will pay them a denarius, which is how much? $100? Okay. And then he goes again at noon, gets some more, tells them he'll pay him a denarius, goes again at 3, and then at 5. And so when he lines them up to pay them for their day's wage, he lines up the one he grabbed at 5, which had only worked an hour, gives him a denarius, works his way backwards. When he gets back to the one that he grabbed in the morning or even at noon, they think that, of course, they're going to make more money. And he gives them the same amount. And they get really frustrated. And they're like, we worked all day. They worked an hour. We all got the same. Jesus was trying to explain to us that that's how grace works. And what it reminded me of is even when you come to Christ as a child and you follow him all of your life versus coming to know him when you're 50 and maybe you only know him in your last 30 years of life instead of all 80.
Yeah.
Or maybe you come to know him on your deathbed and you know him for 20 minutes before you pass on. Grace covers all of that. And God is not concerned with the numbers or the quantity, just the state of your heart. And I don't know, Jay and I started talking about it a lot this week, is how divided our country is and how you're constantly hearing someone say this is unfair and how much division that causes. My girlfriend Sherry was on a podcast last week, actually, with my other girlfriend, Jessie. She has La Joie Society. I think we've talked about it on here for sure. But Sherry was saying that she doesn't allow that term in her home. She doesn't allow her children to say this isn't fair because it's just not, it's just a moot point. Nothing should ever be fair in any instance if you're going to prepare your children for society, because it's just not fair. And God didn't promise us a fair life or a comfy life.
No.
Promised us that, he would provide for us and give us everything that we're needing. But he didn't say that he would do that equally. And
well, I think when you come to kids and, you tell them, life ain't fair, you go on, but yet, you don't want them necessarily to have to do without. And I think society has taken that so far that now it's rolled over into everything that we deal with. And I think the biggest part of it, probably not in a good way.
No, I wouldn't think so. But what it was bringing us to is the divisiveness and everything that's going on in the world is that we're wanting to be the change. We're wanting to be the change that we wish we could see, and the trajectory that we're on is so sad. Each year, the state of our world, just the more divided we are each month, and so what we were wanting to talk about is over the pandemic and the past, 6-7 months, it's like the reoccurring theme with us is when you're seeing someone try to help others, it's almost like there's so many you have to get through to get the help to the person that's needing the help. And I told Jay last year, I kept getting this image of, I'll just try to explain it the best I can, but I'm going to sound like a wackadoo, so bear with me. But I just kept getting this image in my head of Jay and I are standing at the shop, and our stepson is on a planter or plow out in the field, and he wrecks. And so Jay and I just violently start sprinting towards him to help. And he's hurt badly, and we just start sprinting to help. And someone stops us and says, hey, you can't do that. That's your son. The rest of your crew is going to think that you treat your son one way, but you treat the rest of your crew another way. And we push them away and we start running again. And then one of our children stops us and says, hey, you didn't run that fast last time I got hurt? Why are you running this fast to get to him? And then we keep running and running and running, and someone else stops us and has another reason as to why we shouldn't be running to help him. And I just keep seeing that over and over and over instead of someone running up and kind of helping.
Running ahead and helping.
Someone being closer to the situation than us, seeing us running, turning and running.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, it's human nature. It's just human nature for you to want to insert yourself negatively into a situation because you think that you have rights as a person to put yourself into a situation. But to me, and I think something that we should evaluate in each of our own from a personal standpoint is if we're inserting ourselves and that insertion is stopping help from getting from the helper to the person that needs to be helped, I think that's when we really do need to check our heart and see, if the state of our heart is in the right place. If we're stopping something good from getting to somebody that needs it, I don't think we're in the right.
Yeah, if you're working harder at driving division than you are at trying to stop division, there's definitely a point there that somebody needs to be checked up. And, you mentioned a while ago about how division seems to be more. I mean, years ago seemed like it was just, like years apart, and then then it becomes an election every 4 years or whatever, but now it's just almost like it's daily.
Yeah.
And it's just picked up pace, and that more people are looking to try to divide more than to help more.
Right. Well, there's a huge platform for them to voice their grievances.
Yeah, and I think it gets, everybody's got it. And, once you get inflamed by somebody and it just makes you feel your opinion stronger and make you want to get it more out there, especially if you're a really outspoken person.
Sure.
And I think there's so many things and people commenting on it and all that, and, referencing social media specifically. I think it just ramps stuff up so much. And I don't know. It's just disappointing that you can't just, kind of live and let live to a certain opinion. I mean, we have our opinions and we have our feelings and ourselves, how we are about stuff. But at some point, I mean, it's not fair. You may not always like it. You may not think it's fair, but it's life.
Well, and you and I are not immune to it, but I want us to be able to see it better ourselves, and I want us to be able to kind of point it out sweetly to each other. There's times where maybe as a farm community is the same way.
Sure.
Where maybe you're thinking, because this is how it all started. We have a new guy that we love on TikTok. He makes the most amazing videos, but he's 24, so he's been catching a whole lot of flack about comments saying like, must be nice to inherit all that equipment, or must be nice. And just all of these hateful, condescending comments, when more than ever, we need that generation to want to be farming right now.
Need to be supported.
They need to be supported. They don't need to be pushing through all the crap to be able to farm like you guys did. And I know y'all get it too.
Yeah.
You're fifth generation. So you got it too. But what I'm meaning is, I know the competitiveness of it where, if maybe somebody gets land that you don't, and maybe they just started farming a couple years ago, what way are you going to feel? It happens on Instagram. Maybe a girl joins Instagram and in 6 months she has 10,000 followers, and we've been playing the game for a couple of years. And so you're just kind of the pecking order. You feel like you're judge and jury of the pecking order. Like, why does she have so many followers? She must have paid for them, or she must have been really aggressive. And it's like, look, if her account is helping people, I understand why you're feeling this way. But if he or she is helping people, your heart needs to be able to strip it down and say, I'm glad she's helping.
Yeah, instead of fighting and argue about it, jump on there and try to help her get to 15,000 or whatever to keep moving it forward.
Right, for sure. And I know it's hard to know like where to start. I just do think it starts with us. And so any type of healing in your life, because those little... My kitty has crossed the table and is now on Jay's face. I'm really sorry, babe.
Okay.
He's not happy about this kitty. And now it's on his face. I really do think that as a community, if we are, like you say, live and let live. Yeah. That is so beautiful, bub. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. You know, we talk about this a bunch, but just starting here, starting internally with healing. But I just think sometimes it is hard to know like where to start. Like it's easy to be like, hey, you know, when you do this, don't do it. And it's like, but how? Like what's the practical application? How do we stop ourselves from doing that? And it's healing and health and mental health and wellness and personal growth of this is not a feeling that I really enjoy having. So how can I grow past it to where this is not my first?
Yeah.
Or maybe it is my first thought, but I am strong enough as a mature adult to have the thought, see it, and watch it dissolve because it's not really a thought that I want to have in my life. And the personal growth that we can have in all of us that be the change, it could make a huge difference, you know, and the live and let live and keep scrolling and disagree with someone, but not having to say it. All of those things need to start here.
I do. And I think two things. A friend of mine the other day was saying that he believes one way in the way a lot of stuff's happened, but he tries to read, follow, whatever, somebody that thinks the total opposite of what he does, just to try to understand. And I think, number one, if you can take that route and whatever the situation, not even necessarily political or whatever, just take that route and try to see what the other side's doing, but then maybe try to find one thing that you do agree with and, you know, just try to find something to build on. And I think that's in anything that we do. If we can find one thing to build on, you know, maybe there is hope, because, you know, complete division and being on total opposite sides, I mean, it can't go anywhere but up in flames if you don't try to find something good in it. You're
exactly right, especially with the hope, because you're like, well, fighting's not going to do anything. You know, we're not going to change their mind by fighting with them. They're obviously not listening to us. Yeah. So all hope is lost. And that's just not true, because there are some things that, you know, our nose is so close to the situation. There are a lot of things that we're not seeing either. Jay and I like to stay with the idea that the truth is in the middle.
Yeah.
Maybe not halfway between the middle, but it's in the middle.
I think if your eyes aren't open to there being some other truth or something, I mean, it's going to translate to every part of your life and hurt you in those circumstances too, whether it's with your wife or your children or your job or whatever.
You sound ignorant if you are saying, I know everything and everything is the way that I see it and this is how I see it. Like, have you ever been around those people at a party? That's the worst person to get sat by. And I don't ever want you and I to be that. You and I think we do a good job kind of teasing each other when we get that way.
Yeah.
And that goes back to another. You don't realize, but your spouse is your most gigantic resource for personal growth.
That'll be your barometer.
But we don't like it. We don't like it.
And doesn't feel good at all.
We don't like it, and we don't allow it. Today, I was even thinking, if I could take the honesty that Jay gives me in a heated argument, the honesty that Jay gives me about me, if I could cool down and then write down those notes, I really could learn a lot about myself.
You gonna do that next time?
No, but I mean, be honest. Like that is as honest. Us girls, you know, we'll pack on some pounds, and there's some of us that's like, I wish someone would just say, you need to lose weight, because we probably would finally lose weight, but no one would say that to us. And it's like our spouse in the heat of an argument, that's as honest as we can get. And Bob Goff says, that's a huge resource to learn about ourselves from our spouse, but we push it away and we push it away.
But to be clear, I didn't say anything about you gaining pounds.
I know, honey. But going back, we say they're not going to listen. We're not going to be able to argue our point. Nobody has ever changed their mind by being in a fight with someone. You're not going to ever argue someone into seeing it your way. But there is something to, if you're wanting them to hear you, to see you, you have to hear them and you have to see them. And if they don't see you doing that, there's no way they're even going to take that step. Just like in blending our family, where we feel like we can't control them and we can't control their behavior. And then it took us several years to realize, holy hell, but we can control us, and that changes everything. Yeah. And that's where I'm saying with our nation right now and our world right now, how divided we are, and we just think all hope is lost because we're never going to be able to change their minds. And all hope is not lost because we all have control over our hearts. And that's the best news of the year.
Yeah.
So much can be done by us as a force healing ourselves. If we can heal ourselves, we can heal our community.
Well, and I think, too, it has to go back to what you're saying there, your family, whether it's, a blended family or whatever, to teaching your children and teaching yourselves to be tolerable and open and to be understanding. I mean, it's got to start at the ground level to get that. I mean, to me,
and our children.
Yeah, kids to me today, they're kind and they're accepting of a lot more things than kids were in my time. But at the same time, they can be very opinionated because they have a way to get it out and not have to say it directly to a person a lot. And I think it gives them an out on a lot of stuff.
Well, and also, if we ever spoke back to a teacher, we would get whipped at school and then whipped at home, no questions asked.
Yeah.
You get whipped at school, you are going to get whipped when you get home.
Yeah.
And now it's, you whip my child and I will sue you.
Yeah.
And so there's no consequences for a child to not speak back to a teacher, not speak back to authority. So times are so different, but instead of fussing about it, we just have to learn how to go with it. What's the best way to help in this climate? I've decided this a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but within the past couple of weeks, it's been pretty clear that God's calling me to write a book. It's been a very confusing journey for me. So I'm really excited about writing it because I think when it's done, it won't be so confusing.
Right.
So I'm just trying to step out into faith, but the premise of it is as confusing as a book premise as you can get, which is discouraging women from stepping over into divorce from a divorced woman, from a happily married divorced woman at that.
Right.
One thing that's really clear to me is, when you're in that situation in your life, you won't hear reason. You will find someone, and you usually look for a divorced person, but you'll find someone to say what you want them to say.
Yeah.
And if somebody is saying something that you don't like, you'll just end that relationship. I did. Or you'll find someone else that says something that makes you feel good or makes you feel supported, or, oh, you need to leave them if you're not happy. You should be happy in this life. Or you'll find that girlfriend. And so this book, I just think there's no way I can speak to someone in that season of their life because they're not going to hear it. Yeah. And what I feel like God keeps saying is, they've never heard it from someone that knows what they're talking about.
Well, we've said that many times. I guess as a non-divorced person, the glasses, rose-colored glasses you have on versus being a divorced person, you know, what that looks like and the things that you notice that you've never noticed before. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It really is. For me, it was anyway.
Well, and the grace that I would like to write it with, even in the foreword or the first chapter, like, look, I'm going to have to go get her. Okay, but back to what I was saying, and I know it sounds kind of weird that I'm tying this book into what we're talking about, but I'll do my best to try to, you know how my mind connects stuff?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm following you. I'm tracking. My
mind connects stuff in an odd way. That's why my Instagram posts are so random, because things make sense in my head that probably don't to all of you, but I want to write it with grace. I want it to be in the very beginning, like, look, I know you don't want to listen to anyone, and if you go ahead and get divorced and you marry a new man, I will love him too. We will go on vacation together with this new fella. I will love him. You and I will be fine. You and I's relationship doesn't end when you get the divorce that I'm begging you not to get. But if you choose to only listen to one person in your life, let it be me. Let me let you know that you're not happy anymore and you want to be happy. Let me tell you about that grass that's on the other side. Let me just at least, I cannot stay quiet. I'm not going to stay quiet. I'm not going to watch you walk forward into something that I know where you're heading, because I'm here. And I'm going to make sure that you know everything about that happier place that that Satan keeps convincing you that if you go forward, I want you to know all about it before you make the decision.
And that's not counting the time it takes to get there.
And babe, since I've decided to write this book, I'm sorry I'm so out of shape, you guys. I'm going to do better. Since I've decided to write this book, there's been several different books that have been sent to me with different passages and stuff. There are books out there that promote divorce. And that's okay. That's fine. Everyone can have their own opinion. We're divorced. We're not going to condemn you for being divorced. We're divorced. However, what I'm saying is, if there are books out there encouraging you to live your best life by getting divorced, and that it's not fair for the kids for you to stay with your spouse because of the kids, it's actually unfair to do that, then I can write my book too.
Yeah.
I don't even remember why I brought the book up.
I mean, I think your book ties in what you were talking about, how when you're at that point of wanting to get divorced and you can't hear reason why you shouldn't, all you can hear is reason why you should.
Yeah.
That's the word you're looking for, and that's what you want to hear. And I think it ties back in with everything we talked today, is that all you want to hear is everything that somebody wants to say that agrees with what you believe in. That's all you can hear. You can't hear anything else. And
oh my gosh, babe, you're my favorite person on this whole planet. Y'all didn't hear, but we were sitting here and I was so frustrated because I didn't know, why did I even bring my book into this? This is so dumb. Like, I'm not even wrapping it up and I sound like the most random person. And my babe's like, no, it fits perfectly. It's crazy. I told you guys as we wade, and because Jay will write it with me, but as we wade through this process of writing this book that we're going to create, and what I want to say is it's going to be said with love. Like, it's going to be said with love, and it's going to be said with grace. And I don't know if there's any way else to convince or change or persuade someone into seeing something different unless it's with love or grace or compassion. And how convenient is it that we're recording this on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday? Yeah. And he says you can't fight hate with hate. You can't fight the dark with more dark. Only light can do that. Only love can fight the hate. And we've said it on here so many times. We'll say it till we're blue in the faces. You cannot fight someone into seeing things your way. And so where I'm trying to tackle something that I don't know if it's ever been tackled before. Trying to keep families together, it can only be approached with grace and love and compassion. I think that's the only way that someone in that situation, because I was in that situation, I wouldn't hear anyone.
Yeah.
I would not hear reason. I had to go back and apologize to so many friends for being so ugly to them and for just cutting them off because they were trying to save my family, and I treated them so poorly. And I know the phase that you get in and that dark that you get in, and you're strangled and you're secluded and you're isolated and you're convinced that you know what's right. And I just want to approach that with a little bit more grace and humility.
Yeah.
And see if I can even help one family to stay together.
Well, you can at least give reasoning from post-divorce, outside looking in, if a person can stop and think about it. And I'm sitting here listening to this as your husband.
Yeah.
As a divorced person, and you're saying, that you shouldn't be divorced, but I get it, and it doesn't bother me a bit. And we've had this conversation.
We had this conversation to start it.
Yeah.
I would have never taken a step forward if I didn't have his full support.
We've had this conversation, goes way back to after, and we've said that on here, after you look back, I mean, you can see so much that you did wrong and so many reasons that you shouldn't be divorced. And here we are divorced. And I think that it does all tie back into what we're talking about is stepping back and seeing something from a different point of view. And I think if the world doesn't figure out how to use that grace and love and look at a different, another person's opinion, I don't know where it goes or where it stops,
Yeah. Bob Goff always says that following Christ means a life of being constantly misunderstood. And that's how I feel right now. Is the premise of the book is so ludicrous that there's no way I came up with it. There's no way I decided that I would do this. I would never want to harm you or make you question things. I would never want to harm our relationship. I would never want our kids to read a book and think, are you guys okay? Like, are y'all happy? It's so confusing, and people will misunderstand it. Like, you want to stop divorce? You're divorced? Yes. Oh, you're not happy? No, I'm very, very happy. You don't want people? No. And it's so confusing. It will make sense the more we go through it, but it can only be God for it to be this way right now in the beginning stages of it. And all we want to do is, just like we always say, we were in the pit. We got out of the pit, we've gone for rope, and we're coming for you. And this is our way to come for you and to come for families and to try to do something in this world where I couldn't save my family and Jay couldn't save his family, but maybe together, Jay and I can save yours. And what's more God about that? Yeah. What's more Jesus? Where is Jesus more than two broken people joining forces to help? And so we just want to be obedient and listen and ignore what the world says about what we're about to try to do.
Yep.
I hope you guys are blessed by or inspired by, we're about to try to tackle something so stupid. Go out and tackle your stupid. I mean, what do we have to lose at this point? No, what do we have to lose?
Much, yeah.
And if anything has taught you this year that life is so short, it can be over in the blink of an eye. And if there's something that's on your heart, a stirring on your heart, go put pen to paper and attack it like a vicious dog. I mean, just attack it and see what you can do. And let's try to get help to the people that need it.
And get help to them and pray for them and help people work not only in divorce and saving a family that way, but whatever family you have, blended or otherwise, divorced or not otherwise, is saving that family and eventually hopefully saving all of us just by, doing the work from the ground up and putting in the time, because I don't see any other way to tackle it, because there's so much disagreement and so much dissension everywhere you look. I think it just has to start at home, and it has to start with yourself and then your families.
How do you find your center each day, Bud, when you get...
I don't know that I have a specific answer for that. I think for me, I do so much different every day, but I've been doing it for so long. I think it's just a matter of knowing what I've got ahead of me and just lining it all out, just one step after another, all the way to getting home to doing this today or getting to a basketball game or whatever. My mind just lays it out in front of me, and I have to do my best not to get derailed.
Right.
You?
I hold my phone hostage. I've told you guys before, but I hold my phone hostage in the morning. So Jay goes to work out around 4:30, and he works out and he comes home, grabs me coffee on the way home. When he gets here, I start waking up, get my coffee, start stretching, and spend my time with God, either in my devotional or in prayer and stretching and just talking to him, putting some music on. And I try not to get onto my phone until all of that is done. It's it's like an accountability.
Right. And
I can find myself slipping away from that when I do roll over and grab my phone and say, what's it going to hurt to just check maybe I put something funny on the night before and I want to check and see all the cute little comments. That'll get the best of me. And I'm like, I'm still going to stretch and talk to the Lord, but that feels like I'm kind of slipping away. I like the obedience of holding my phone hostage.
Yeah.
I love yours though.
Well, I think mine too is just a lot getting up for that work,out, because
your workout is huge.
It gets my day started early and gets me gone early and awake, and allows me time to think while I'm doing that and think while I'm driving back and forth and stuff, for sure.
Right. That's a big deal, especially with endorphins and mood boosters, and gets your mindset where you need to. I was laughing today. I was like, I wish I could get up and work out with him, but I wonder why I haven't set a different time. Like, I know that I don't want to work out at 5 a.m., but why have I allowed myself to just say I don't want to at 5?
But why don't you want to work out at 5?
I'm cold. I'm so cold.
It's warm in the gym.
I know, but I'm freezing. I do not want to go get in a car at 4:30 in the morning and be freezing out of my bed. I don't.
Well, it is a little tough some mornings, and some afternoons are a little tough, for sure.
And then I have another one. I was a personal trainer for this is going to sound like an excuse, but I do want to add this. I was a personal trainer for 12 or 13 years. And for the first 10 or so, I was in charge of opening the gym. So I woke up every morning at 4 o'clock. And it's kind of like when I stopped, I was like, that's it.
Not going back.
And then when we did the boot camp, I did a boot camp north of here. And I would do it again every morning at 5 a.m. And even in the colder temperatures, they would get there and warm up and start stripping clothes. And I would be frozen the whole morning. And I think when I stopped that, I was like, I won't. I'll do something else besides ever get up and get that cold.
Do that, you're going to have to move to Florida or somewhere south. Huh?
Yep. I want to do better.
Yeah.
I just have I was boxing, and my boxing coach has an elderly mother living with her, and so she needs to be careful right now.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ways that's affected us, but I need to get creative and just do something else that I can't get it quite figured. I walked a bunch this week, but that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part's getting back and getting started and staying with it. Yeah, just getting going is the hard part.
Yeah. Right now, I just want to focus on little things.
Yeah.
So we had salmon and rice last night, and the night before we had chicken and rice, and you and I like to eat really well. So that's a plus. But then we also like
to reward ourselves a lot for nothing.
For nothing. For it being a Tuesday.
And we think ahead about it a lot, too.
We do. We love food.
We're good at that part of it.
Yeah.
Well, babe, what else you got today?
I think that's it. You need to head one way and I need to head the other.
Yeah, you're westbound to a basketball game. Well, I guess I am too.
You are too.
Two
just
different
a little bit north.
Yep. So.
Yep.
And, well, babe, as the song says, the road goes on forever and the party never ends.
Thank you for my kitty.
You're not welcome, but I love you anyway.
I love you too. Season 3, baby.
It's about time.
Excited?
Yeah.
All right. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
We sure appreciate y'all listening today. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can search for us, Moving On Podcast. That's 3 words, on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We would love to hear from you. With ways you're figuring out how to drop the ropes in each of your own lives, and even ways that you're not, hell, that's just as entertaining to us. See you in a couple of weeks.